The winter storm rages outside, and the power grid goes down for an extended period of time. The temperature in your house or apartment is dropping, and the roads are impassable. If the power is down for just a day, you'll probably be fine, but you'll need to know what you can do to survive if days turn into weeks. Do you have the right things in your prepper supplies to survive an extended period of sub-zero temperatures indoors? Do you know what you need to do immediately to increase your odds of long-term survival? Please consider subscribing to our newsletter to give you updates and membership-specific content. Visit www.cityprepping.com/newsletter or click on the link in the description and comment section below to subscribe today. Enjoy the video. If you're an urban dweller, when the power goes out, your heat probably goes out too. Thanks to insulation and objects around your apartment retaining heat, the temperature won't drop to the outside temperature right away. However, you need to take precautions against losing your dwelling's warmth and keeping the cold out. If you feel that the outage may go on for some time, or after a major disaster happens and you know power won't be back for a while, you'll want to move to one room of the home, likely near the kitchen. In this way, if you cook, you'll also be generating heat in your environment. The room you choose should not have vaulted ceilings and should be sealed off from places that do. Your home's heat will race to the highest point in your home, so you'll want to seal the loss of air at the tops of doors and doorways as well as at the bottom. Immediately seal windows, cracks under doors, and doors to hallways and other rooms. Sealing off the room can be accomplished with blankets or towels, a tarp, but even plastic sheeting or garbage bags affixed with painter's tape can hold back pockets of cold air and stop the flow of warm air. Any covered windows with direct sunlight you'll want to uncover during full sun hours, as the direct sunlight can significantly warm your room. Likely your windows are already closed, but make sure the doors to other rooms are closed as well. You want to slow the exchange of warm and cold air. The second law of thermodynamics is entropy. That is to say that the warm interior of your home will lose heat to the cold exterior until equilibrium is achieved. That equilibrium is the outside temperature because Mother Nature is always more powerful. To combat this, you want to leverage insulation and stop the points where cold and warm air is exchanging. If you're near the kitchen, as I advise, you want to put your faucet on at a drip. Flowing water, even at a slow rate, is less likely to freeze. If icicles start forming from the droplets, you will have a good indicator of how cold it is getting in your home. You may also want to consider placing a small candle under the long section of your faucet spout assembly. Water is precious, so make sure it is dripping into a container, and let that container be your reminder to stay hydrated. Layer up and pull out the gear. Of course, pull out the clothes and layer up. You want to slow the exchange of heat between your body and the exterior air. There are 3 main layers and 3 special considerations. Your base layer wicks away moisture and can be as light as silk or as breathable as cotton. Your mid layer insulates and retains body heat. And your outer layer really protects you from the outside elements. But indoors, it creates another barrier between you and the temperatures outside. The 3 special considerations are your head, hands, and feet. Make sure you have gloves on whenever possible. Double layer your socks. Wear a hat to help you retain heat. You lose around 10% of your body heat through your head, so make sure you have your head covered. Don't wait to feel cold before you layer up. You should also plan to move into the room your prepper supplies, food stores enough to last at least a week, water, camping supplies, and every blanket you own. Now might be the time to do your prepping inventory since you have little else to do in a snowstorm. As odd as it may sound, you should pitch your tent in that room. Tents are designed to retain some heat within them. At the very least, they further slow the exchange between cold and warm air. If you're in your home, in your layers, in your tent, and in your sleeping bag, it would have to get well below freezing in your apartment before you became at risk of hypothermia. Your tent can create a microclimate significantly warmer than the room it is in and tremendously warmer than the outdoors. Emergency blankets are excellent reflectors of heat, so they reflect your body's own heat back at you. Unfortunately, they leak out on the sides and are difficult to wrap tightly around yourself. You can use them as great vapor locks on your windows. You can also cut a hole in the center and use tape on the sides to create a highly effective poncho for yourself. Creating warmth. If you cannot leave your apartment or home for over a week during and following a winter storm and grid down situation, you'll need to prioritize warmth. Your body is the most efficient heat generator, and I will cover that in a moment, but you'll want to generate heat in your living space to combat the temperatures outside. Even with the power out, you still may have natural gas flowing. You'll need to use a match or lighter since electric starters will not be working. There are indoor self-propane heaters available. Even with these though, and with all indoor flames of any kind, you should have water or a fire extinguisher nearby, and you absolutely should have a carbon monoxide detector. Even the cleanest of fuels can give off some carbon monoxide, and CO2 can build up as well. When cooking or heating with open flames, even cracking a window a half inch can bring in the fresh air and vent some of the carbon monoxide. Take this seriously, as many people pass away annually due to carbon monoxide poisoning. There are several options for heating in open flames. Not everyone has a fireplace. You may have seen the isopropyl alcohol-soaked toilet paper roll and a paint can. I would only suggest that if you are truly desperate, as the flames can be unruly and dangerous, even with the addition of rocks on top. A simpler option is several tea candles in a paint or a coffee can. I like this method because you can easily store over 100 tea candles in a paint can in your prepper supplies. Each tea candle will burn for about 3 hours, and you only need about 6 in the bottom of your paint can to create enough heat with which to cook. Hurricane or prayer candles can also be grouped to provide you a higher concentration of heat that will last much longer than the tea candles, an incredible 3 to 4 days. Inverting a flower pot with foil inside or placing a pot or pan above the flame will create a radiating heat source and increase the candle's or tea light's warming effects. Even a can of Crisco or a jar of tallow with a wick in it will provide you some light and heat enough to warm liquids. You may also have cans of Sterno or Safe Heat in your camping and prepping supplies. You can quickly pick up a case of 12 of these little cans for around $20. Again, while these give off significantly fewer harmful chemicals and gases, any flame at all is going to give off carbon monoxide gases, so you should remain aware of this and take precautions. These can also provide up to 6 hours of heat sufficient enough with which to cook. Whatever your option or solution is, always give special consideration to open flames within your house. We often think we need a raging fire or a blasting furnace to raise a room's temperature. That's simply not true. If your room is well sealed from the exchange of warm and cold air, even a few small flames can maintain or even slightly raise a small room's internal temperature. Time, consistency, location, and spread are critical factors for raising a room's temperature. This is how long the heat source is lasting, at what constant high temperature it is functioning, where it is positioned, and how much heat is radiant. None of these solutions will create a sauna in your home or make it feel like the tropics, but the key here is to lose as little heat as possible compared to the outside and to retain as much of the heat as you can. Any net gain in temperatures is a plus. Finally, when heating or cooking, try to keep these activities to the early part of the day if your resources are limited. You will sleep warmly in a tent or sleeping bag through the night, but you will feel the cold the most in the early hours. Food, exercise, and health. Think of your heat source as also a source of light and cooking. You want to always have heated water on hand. A hot water bottle will retain and emit heat for hours. Tea, coffee, or any hot or warm liquid will warm you enough and lessen the degree to which your body has to work to generate its heat. Heat soup or chili or ramen to warm your home and feed your body's furnace. You'll need to make sure you're eating enough to give your best heat generator, your own body, what it needs to keep you warm. If you are on a vanity diet and not on a diet for health reasons, you'll want to postpone that now. Providing your body the fuel it needs to regulate body temperature is the most important thing now. Snacking on candy or carbohydrate-rich chips will have to be okay because these provide your body with easy fuels to burn. When it comes to your body temperature, you want to keep your body neither too hot nor too cold. As stable as you can keep your temperature, the better. If you've ever been so cold that you would say that it was in your bones, what likely occurred was your body's internal thermostat was shocked and triggered enough to kick it into high gear. To regulate itself again took time, no matter how many hot baths you took afterwards. Your internal temperature regulation is incredibly stable, but you need to make sure it doesn't get shocked too far in any direction, either cold or hot. If you're fortunate enough to have natural gas in the early days of an electrical grid down, take advantage of the opportunity to bake cookies and loaves of bread. Try that homemade jerky recipe that will keep your oven on low for hours. Cooking will heat your house and provide you a source of carbohydrates. Don't just cook that one loaf either. You should cook 2 or 3 at a time. You could trade the bread with neighbors or eat it yourself. Once it is cooled, store it in a windowsill and it will keep for an extended period of time. As a heating source with your home sealed off pretty well, even a stove top can warm a room. The oven is a radiant box of consistent heat. When you're finished cooking, crack the oven's door and let the remaining heat flow into the room. You may not have the luxury of natural gas. If you live in an urban environment, a prolonged period of no electricity may cause the flow of natural gas to stop, so cook early and in abundance as soon as the power goes out. Some light exercise, physical games, or anything to elevate your heart rate and body temperature will benefit you greatly. 20 minutes of activity will elevate body temperature for up to an hour afterwards. Light exercise will also clear your mind, keep you focused, and keep your mood high. If the grid down situation lasts more than a week, the chances are very high that the water flow will stop. Municipal sources will struggle with broken pipes, and many require electricity for pumping water. In apartments, your flow of hot water from the boilers in the basement could end as soon as day one. Flushing a toilet may not be possible, but you still need to remove biological waste for health reasons. A bucket toilet and trash bags are an excellent method to do this. It's worked for moms and children everywhere, from parking lots to campouts, so that will work for you as well. Eat, drink, exercise, and remove waste. Feed your brain with a good book or a game. If you live in a family, it is easier to entertain yourself. You may have a trusted neighbor or friend you might want to welcome into your warm home for a short period. You'll want to benefit from each other's warmth and cheer. If you live in a home, there are many considerations I don't cover in this video, like draining your water heater and toilet tanks. I focus on more of the urban dweller because even in the suburbs and exurbs, some people have their own propane tanks or solar resources for some electricity. Though I focus more on the urban dweller, expand upon the basics I provide here to do other research to develop an indoor cold weather survival plan on your own. Once you have developed a plan, take a weekend and shut your heat off. Give it a trial run and see what you may have overlooked, what worked well for you, and what you still need to do to be prepared. Just as you might chop wood for fires through the winter if you lived in the country, the urban dweller needs to prepare for an extended periods of cold. Invest in plastic sheeting and painter's tape. Purchase and store some tea candles, emergency candles, and cooking cans. Even a Kelly kettle like what I carry on my website, or a teapot, and camping cook systems will benefit you greatly. Get a high quality insulated sleeping bag and emergency blankets, and don't be afraid of pitching your tent indoors. If the power goes out and the temperature outside keeps dropping, you can insulate yourself and survive as long as you have to. If you found this video informative and helpful, please feel free to like it and share it with your friends, family, and community. If you have any comments or anything you'd like to share, please feel free to leave a comment in the comments section below. I read many of the comments and respond to them when I can, and that's usually within the first hour of releasing the video. Remember that there are links in the description section below, and you can find more information about the things I discussed in this video. If you'd like to be notified when other videos become available, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. As always, stay safe out there.